Good morning. Good morning again. My name is Jane Wasilwa. I work for Triple E Plus Media Limited. This morning I'm so excited to be part of iTalanta Academy launch in Kakuma. And I want to invite all of you to this occasion. We've really been waiting for it, and the day has come. I just want to urge all of us that we see that COVID is real, and we want to make sure we are 100% masked up. We put on our masks unless somebody is talking. Let's keep social distance, and in case there'll be a mic going around, just ensure that it has been sanitized. Now, my work here is to introduce the speakers that we have in the house this morning. On my immediate left, we have Viente Rosil. He's the CEO for Elewa. Next to Viente is Carol Mukami. Carol Mukami is the communications officer at Windle International, Kenya. On my extreme left, that is Esther Bidali. Esther is an engineer and coach at iTalanta. I'll request that my speakers will be talking while seated because we want to minimize as much movements as we can. We are live streaming. We have many people watching us live, and they also want to participate in what we are doing today. So right now, I will invite Yente to give his first remarks. Let's give it up for Yente, please. Most welcome.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. My name is Jens Rossel. I'm the founder and CEO of Elewa. And what I think I'll do is just give a bit of a background story about how this campus came to be. And then also maybe explain a bit more about the iTalanta program in general. Before I actually give the word to our partners of Windle over here, we will explain a bit about their role and the amazing stuff they're doing over at Kakuma refugee camp, and also their interest and their role in this program. After that, we'll go to Esther. And Esther is actually someone who has went through the program, and she's the first one to graduate. Amazing talent. She'll talk a bit about her journey, how it was going through what I'll explain later is the second phase of the program. And then also a bit about the curriculum that we're setting up to train youth on becoming actually software developers, cloud architects, and all of the software terms you can think of. Now, before I actually start and do a bit of the background story, I would just want to also really appreciate where we are today. I think the team and the partners have worked day and night to make this thing happen. And we're very proud to actually be able to launch this campus here today with all of you. Now, maybe before I talk a bit about the iTalanta program, a bit about Elewa. Elewa is actually a company we started in Kenya in 2015, and it's an education innovation company. Elewa believes that everyone should have the opportunity to reach his or her full potential in life, and we believe that's possible by facilitating meaningful and enjoyable education programs. And our role in that is the development of large-scale, continuous professional development programs. Now, what do you need to think about when you think about large-scale continuous professional development programs? Think about what if we have to train thousands of teachers, okay? Right now, how it's done is you get maybe the teachers in the room, you get someone to talk to them, and they leave, and we call that continuous professional development. The issue is that it's very hard to measure what the impact is of this training we are doing, which is actually an on-the-job training. It should be continuous professional development. It can be very expensive because you have to get location, you have to get trainers, all of those things. And it can, and it's very hard to measure the impact. There's been a rise of how to use technology to help facilitate this process. But also there, we often lose a bit of the human aspects of training. So what we have developed over the years, and this is not something that happened in a day, but it's taken us many months and years to actually complete, is a model where how do we integrate this training within larger scale organizations. So for example, a government has a very strong structure already in place. How do we facilitate continuous professional development inside of it? And we do that in different sectors. Education has been our core, where we started. But we've also evolved into healthcare. For example, how do we train nurses on scale? We have a project running with the Kenya Scouts Association, where we actually are training scout leaders. So people that want to go and become scout leaders, they can just go to the Kenya Scouts channel, the WhatsApp, go to their WhatsApp number, say hi, and through a WhatsApp channel, they can actually learn how to become scout leaders. But it's not just technology, it's also very personal. There's the whole, integrated into the whole training infrastructure of the Kenya Scouts Association. There's group events, things like that. So we don't just do digital trainings, we do large-scale trainings that are adapted to the unique needs of that organization. Now, one thing, and actually when I talk to people and I have to introduce myself, I usually introduce myself as a teacher by heart. Teaching is what I love to do. I love to see people grow. But also a computer scientist by trade. So I'm a computer scientist by education, and I've been in tech. Actually, tech has been a large part of my career so far. And one of the big problems we've been seeing, and this is both in Kenya here, but also globally, is that there are not enough trained developers for the amount of software development work that there is. Just to give you some numbers on that, in Europe, we have a vacancy of about 300,000 to 500,000 IT jobs. So those are current jobs that cannot be filled because there are no people that are trained to the level where they can do those jobs. In the US, they're talking, depending on which figures you follow, but it can go up to 1 million vacancies. Here in Kenya also we have the same problem. A study by the IFC has actually shown that in 2019 there were about 6.1 million tech-enabled jobs, okay? So we needed about 6.1 million people to have these tech skills to contribute to the local economy. By 2030, estimates are showing that that number will, in Kenya alone, go up to 17 million already. And that represents by then about 50 to 55% of the market. So there's a huge need for these tech skills. And from our background as Elewa, building these large-scale continuous professional development programs, we saw a good fit to actually also start looking into how can we develop scalable training programs for tech education. And we started this journey, and Esther was actually one of the first ones to start with us in August 2020 with an apprenticeship program. So where we basically took, and still are doing batches, we take in batches of very talented youth. And in 1 to 2 years, depending on how fast they grow, because it's a very personalized on-the-job training program, it's an apprenticeship. We build them up from a junior first entry into the software development space to media or senior level, depending on who you ask, because it's also a space, the tech space is also something where these terms are a bit vague, but we bring them up to international standards. And while they are contributing on this apprenticeship, they're actually contributing on startups all across the world. And I think Esther will actually do a bit of a story about the work she has done over the last year, which, as I said, it's mind-blowing, it's amazing. We have some of our apprentices, which are all here from Kenya. We actually have our apprenticeship program running here in Nairobi, but we also have students that came all the way from Kisumu, all the way from Mombasa. Hopefully later we can also go to them. But some of the things they've been doing, just to give you some examples, in 8 weeks we've built a Microsoft Teams type of application, so literally a video conferencing where you can vote on General Assembly. So you can host General Assemblies for companies in Europe. People can log into the platform, vote, and immediately the reports get calculated. This motion has been passed, this motion has been denied, for what? Straight from the platform with legal backing. Those things have, that's a complete platform, so you can imagine video conferencing, voting functionality, audio that has to be of very high quality, has been done by one of our apprentices in about 6 weeks. So that's the type of level of application development that we strive for. And we develop, as I mentioned, applications for for students all across the world. Now that is actually was what we started with, on-the-job training, which is again a level score, but we realized very soon that we needed some extra phase, and that problem came from the recruitment. When we try to recruit people that are ready to have this first job in IT, a very fast-growing job, the apprenticeship, there was a big problem in actually finding people that were trained to the level where they had the knowledge and experience and skills to be able to take that entry-level job. To give you an example, when we do a normal recruitment, we get about 300 to 500 applicants. Less than 1% actually applies, is in the right skills and knowledge set to actually get into our program. So we needed to increase that program, because if you find 500, only 5 can get into the program. We have a lot more market demand than what we can currently service with the apprentices we have. We would need about 3 times, 4 times the apprentices today to service all of the opportunities that are waiting right now for us to serve. So we started looking at, okay, how can this be done? What do we need to get people from, maybe they have a college degree, maybe they come out of the formal education system, secondary school, college, TVET. How do we bring them from that level to the level where they can actually contribute to an apprenticeship program, where they can contribute to this international level type of software development projects? And that's when we started thinking about an academy. And it's around that time that we actually met who's now our chairman, and he's sitting over there. He's called Peter Reinhardt, Peter Reinhardt in Dutch. And Peter actually has sort of a stellar career also here in Kenya. He was the former CEO and MD of Wanachi Group, Telecom Kenya. And before that, had a long-standing career in telecom and technology in Europe. So Peter was already building some sort of a program like that, and he's really been the glue that has brought all of the partners together. He was already, Windel was already involved even before we were involved. And what Peter, actually Peter attended a conference from the UNHCR, where they were talking about the challenges, and I think our colleagues of Windel will go a bit deeper into that, that people face in the camps. And he came up with the idea, what if we can develop a tech training program that really trains for employment? So it doesn't train for just being able to develop software, it really trains to have a very natural throughput into the employment market. So he started building the partners and getting the partners, such as our great and amazing partners of Windel, to start that program. And also when we met, it was actually a very natural fit, because we were actually looking for a similar type of solution. And it's at that point that I might actually hand the microphone here to my colleagues at Windel, just to explain a bit more about the program and also the needs that are there in the camp, and how this program can actually contribute to generating some employment over there. Thank you.
Thank you very much, the moderator, and also Jesse, for that very informative introduction and detailed explanation of the project, the iTalanta Academy. So my name is Carol from Windel International, Kenya, and I'm happy to be here. And he's mentioned about how we are partnering with Elewa in the iTalanta project. But before I get into the deep of that, I'd like to briefly introduce Windel International Kenya, so that you know what we are all about and what we are doing, before I come to explain how we are partnering with Elewa through the iTalanta project. So Windel International Kenya, we like to call it WIK, or sometimes WIC, is a humanitarian organization that is providing quality education and training for refugees and needy Kenyans from marginalized or conflict-affected communities. So since its establishment in 1977, Windel International Kenya, or WIK, has developed into a center of excellence and what you would call your go-to organization when it comes to matters of education in displacement. So we believe that education transforms society. We have our banner there, you can see that. And our mission really is to create lasting change and transformation in society by delivering quality education and training to the people that we are concerned about, and also advocating for and influencing education policies. So our programming support presently is in the Dadaab Refugee Camp, Kakuma Refugee Camp, Kakuma Integrated Settlement, and the surrounding host communities. And just also to briefly talk about our scope of education interventions, we have different programs that we implement, and just to mention a few, we have secondary education programs, both in Kakuma and Dadaab. We also have tertiary education programs or scholarships. We have vocational training. We also do teacher training. We also have English language programming and girl-child education support. And also just to add to that is our education, which I think is also very key in how we are partnering with Elewa through the iTalanta project, is that our programs are designed to ensure inclusive and equitable education that targets to improve access, retention, and transition from one level to another. So now to go into how and why we are partnering with iTalanta, with Elewa through the iTalanta project, first I'd like to say that the iTalanta project is a very unique model, and that is providing or offering learners from Kakuma Refugee Camp, the Kakuma Integrated Settlement, and also the surrounding host communities, alternative pathways to generate income. And I'd say this resonates very well with the current plans to ensure that both refugees and the host communities work together towards social and economic development in Turkana County, because Kakuma Refugee Camp is in Turkana County, so that is very key. And also, just to mention that with this partnership, it is actually expanding and diversifying education opportunities for refugees and also host communities, because the demand for education in the refugee camps is very high, especially tertiary education, yet there are very, very limited opportunities. So I believe this partnership is solving a solution, or closing the gap when it comes to providing opportunities and also providing quality education and training to refugees. And also what is very interesting is the approach or the model that Elewa is using, leveraging on ICT, because ICT is a creative way of solving emerging education challenges, because we are in a very rapidly dynamic and globalized world at the moment. And then, of course, we know that digital literacy prepares learners for a world of today and tomorrow. So that is very key, because even as an organization, we're trying to align ourselves with the emerging and developing needs in technology, because education is really advancing. And so for us, ICT is very key, and we're trying to align ourselves and also adapt strategies that leverage on ICT to deliver education and training. And so why are we the perfect partner, you may want to ask? Why Windle International Kenya? Why not any other organization? What are we bringing to the table, if you may? Okay, so I mentioned that the organization was established in 1977, so those are around 40 years of good experience working with marginalized communities in education programs, and also in refugee population. So we have a wealth of experience and expertise, I'd say, very confidently in managing education programs, as well as experience working with refugees and host communities or local communities, because I believe that is what you are looking for when you're looking for a partner to work with, especially in the refugee setup where not many people have an understanding of the context or the dynamics involved. So we'd say with the world of experience, and of course, a skilled team of personnel that are on the ground to ensure that the objectives of these projects, of the project are met. So we have our skilled team, and of course we have adequate education facilities. We had a very successful launch yesterday in Kakuma, the induction launch of the first cohort of 20 students yesterday. So yesterday they were inducted into the program. It was a very successful event. So yes, so we have facilities that are able to comfortably accommodate and deliver on the objectives of iTalanta project through ELEWA. And then I'll just briefly also go through the role of Windle International Kenya in the whole process. Like I mentioned, the induction happened yesterday, so it was a whole process of identifying suitable candidates that we wanted to give this opportunity. And like I mentioned, the demand for education is very high in the refugee camp. And once we received, or once we gave out the call for applications, because one of the, okay, just to briefly give you an idea of the process. First of all, we were responsible for the effective coordination, communication, and management of the recruitment and selection process so that we are able to identify the suitable candidates that we felt and all of us felt that were suitable to enroll into this project. So part of that is to ensure that the process is very free, is very fair, and also very transparent. You know, because with the project, we have the minimum requirements that every candidate had to meet, and so we were keenly looking into that. And of course, we are deriving from our vast experience in managing of scholarships. If you remember from my introduction, I said that we have different education programs that we are implementing, and one of that is education scholarship programs. Currently, we have over 10 education scholarship programs that we are managing in Kakuma refugee camp and also in Dadaab refugee camp. So we have a vast wealth of experience in that. So we know what to look for when we are doing the interviews so that we get to select the candidates that we want to enroll into the program. So the process involved communicating about the program to the target audience. We did that, of course, working very closely with ELEWA, iTalanta. So we do the call for applications. We also do the shortlisting, and we also conduct the interviews. And out of that process, 20 candidates managed to get the opportunity to enroll into the iTalanta project. So what are some of the key things, factors involved? Like I said, very free and fair and very inclusive. And also we ensure that there is equity in the process. That is very, very important for us. So nobody is discriminated and everybody has a chance as long as you meet all the requirements that are needed. All right, so some of the requirements that were needed for the students that we needed to enroll into this program was, one, you have to have completed your secondary education, either in the camp or wherever, but then most importantly, you have to be either a refugee or a Kenyan from the host community. I mentioned previously, earlier when I was talking about where we work, is we support needy Kenyans from conflict-affected or marginalized areas. So we were also looking for Kenyans or Kenyan student candidates from the host community living around Kakuma refugee camp and the Kalobeye integrated settlement. Also, key to ELEWA and the iTalanta project is they needed to get someone or candidates that can strongly demonstrate motivation and commitment. That was very important. And also passion for IT and also contribution to the community. So through our experience handling, managing scholarships, doing interviews, we're able to pick at the interview stage, for example, because we have very interactive questions that we get to ask the students to better understand their need and if they're the best or suitably placed for the award of the scholarship. I'll say the interview process in the sense of ensuring that it's very fair and that everybody is involved in the process. There was a Windle International, the interviews were done at Windle International offices in Kakuma, and we had a Windle International person or representation in the interviews, and then our partners from Microsoft and also the ELEWA project were also part of the process, though they joined in virtually, so that they also have a feel of the process, and they also get to understand, the whole process and how we even arrived at the 20 candidates. So it was very important for them to be part of the process, to understand how it all worked out. And so we managed, something else that also is very key in terms of fairness and ensuring a free, fair, inclusive process is the issue of balance. We have gender issues, we have also nationality. Kakuma refugee camp is very diverse in terms of nationalities present. So we were very keen that we have a good representation of the nationalities present in Kakuma refugee camp. So out of the 20 candidates that were selected for this award, we have 7 nationalities represented. So we have students who are from Sudan, Sudanese students, we have South Sudanese, we have students from Somalia, we have students from DRC, Congo, we have students from Burundi, we have students from Ethiopia, and then of course we have Kenyans. So out of the 20, 3 are Kenyans from the host community, and the rest are from the nationalities I've just mentioned about. And then the issue of gender is also very important. In our scholarship programming, in the spirit of ensuring inclusivity and fairness and equity, we look at gender balance is an issue that we are very, very keen on, and sometimes we have to have affirmative action in the process, so that we have more girls being represented in the project. So in our project, we have 5 out of the 20. There are 5 girls in the scholarship program. So we would have hoped that we have more students, more girls, into the probably like half girls, and then the other half is the men or the male. But then again, maybe not many of them applied. But then we still had to find some girls to be part of the program, and to be part of the program. All right, so I think that is all in regards to the whole process and how we arrived at selecting the 20 students that were inducted yesterday in Kakuma. And I'd say, I mentioned about the huge need for education opportunities for refugees in the camp. And for you to get a sense of this is the number of applicants that we received for this scholarship were around 250. You can see we have 250 students apply, or candidates applying, yet we're only able to support 20. So that was an uphill task, because you can see the need. So many students want to really access tertiary education, they want to move to the next level, but then again, there are all these issues and challenges involved. So out of the 250, we shortlisted 50 candidates that we interviewed, and out of the 50, now we managed to get our 20 that were inducted yesterday into the program. So part of also coming up with the 20 students that we are supporting in the program is a process, is just verification of very, very important issues or things in regards to the candidates. For example, we want to establish, are they really refugees? Because if the project is targeting to support refugees, then we have to be sure that we have the right people on board. So that means that we have the vetting process that we undertake to ensure that we determine their refugee status. So we can confidently say that the 20 students, the 17, because 3 are Kenyans, are refugees, okay? And then, of course, the rest we can ascertain they're Kenyans, because we also have to look at the documentation just to be sure that they're Kenyans as well. Also, we also verify their academic qualification. Look at the because we say one of the requirements was the Kenyan National Examinations certificate. So we need to verify the grades that they submit at the point of the scholarship application. So that we do just to ensure that we have the right people on board as well. So again, just to mention that this is absolutely free for the candidates. They're not paying a fee or anything of the sort. So it's entirely free. But then we are also we have equipped them with a laptop, because you see it's leveraging so much on technology. So they have a laptop, and they also have a bike. Kakuma is very big in terms of this, the area. And for them, some of them come from as far as the Kalobeye Integrated Settlement, still in Kakuma, so they need to be able to come to the facility easily. So they have a bike to facilitate their transport from one point to another. Okay, and of course, just some little stipend to cover their basic needs. And then, so what happens after the students are on board. We had a very successful induction ceremony yesterday, so we have 20 students on board, so we can say officially it kicked off yesterday. So after the process, how are we still partnering with Elewa and iTalanta on that? So we continue to walk the journey with the students, and our responsibility as Wendell is to ensure that we closely monitor and offer administrative support in managing the project. So for example, I've mentioned about the education facilities that are on the ground, so we want to ensure that they are equipped, well equipped, to meet the needs of the students. So if the students will need to use internet, so we need to make sure that there is a good internet connectivity for the students to use as they go on with their course. Of course, they have their laptops, and we have our ICT technicians on the ground, so in case they need any kind of support in maintaining of the laptops or that kind of thing, then that is well taken care of. And then of course that requires a reliable supply of electricity, so we need to, our facilities are well equipped for that. Yes, so that is how now we support, or we continue to work with Elewa on that after the students have been inducted into the program. And so we are really hoping, because this is a pilot project in Kakuma, so we're really looking forward to, from the lessons learned after the end of this course, then we hopeful that probably if it's successful, then we can have it replicated maybe in the DAB, and then, we see then how that goes as far as offering opportunities for quality education and training, is concerned. So I think that is all I have in regards to Wendell International Kenya, how we are partnering, and what is our, responsibilities, our work in regards to the work we're doing with iTalanta and Elewa. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you. Good morning, everyone. My name is Esther Bidali, and I am currently a junior solutions designer at Elewa. And just as Yente has mentioned before, I am also the first to have graduated from the iTalanta program, although it was a different phase from the current Kakuma program that we are launching today. So I joined the iTalanta program in August 2020. And since then, I'm pleased to say that the progress has been very good. I have learned quite a lot, and I'm looking forward to learning even more, because I believe the best is yet to come. In terms of progress, it's a pleasure to see how far iTalanta has come, because from the time I joined compared to now, we're even more students, more learners joining the program, more apprentices, and even the content of what is being delivered to the learners is, I'd like to say that it's actually improved as well. So I'd like to just go deeper into that. Something that would, a great example of the progress that we've made, or how far we've come in the program, is one of the clients that we've been working with that is called Syndic4U. So this client is a Belgian startup in the real estate sector, and they decided to outsource their talent, their software development, to the iTalanta team. In terms of the number of developers working for the project, I'd like to say that it's also a very good indicator of the progress that the company itself has made, because when we started out in August 2020, we just started out 2 full-time developers working on the project, but then that transitioned to the current 6 developers that are working for that same client. And again, this number is expected to go up to 10 Kenyan developers working for this same client. So in terms of numbers, the number of talent that's been recruited for this program, it has also really experienced a lot of development and a lot of growth. And in terms of the projects that we've been working with, when I was starting out in August, we usually used to work on the basic features of the application for this same client. So you'd find just the basic requirements that they wanted for their application that they'd specified. And then the further we went along the apprenticeship, the more we started to work with more complex tasks. For instance, one of the contributions they made to the applications is their banking API, or their banking feature. This feature is basically just supposed to help their clients to move or to transition from the current manual logging system. And instead of doing the manual logging themselves, they can actually connect to their individual banks and then the transactions, their payments will just be monitored automatically, and they can also initiate payments from the Syndic4U platform. So that's just one of the clients that we've worked with over the course of the period that I was a part of the iTalanta project. That aside, the iTalanta program itself, such as the program that we're launching today, the Kakuma project, I was fortunate enough to be nominated to be one of the trainers within the program. Myself and my colleague called Noella, who is already in Kakuma as we speak right now. So the beauty of the iTalanta program is that rather than just focusing on imparting content or delivering content to the learners, the focus is mostly on also on imparting the soft skills that we use on a day-to-day basis. So for instance, things like problem solving, you learn also how to collaborate with your team members, both your peers and your supervisors. And at the same time, you learn the value of teamwork in a nutshell. There's more soft skills that you learn as you go along, but those are the main ones that I will highlight right now. The curriculum itself, the one that's going to be delivered in Kakuma, is broken down into 13 modules or 13 sections. But rather than going to all 13 sections, I'm just going to highlight the main 4 objectives of the curriculum that we're going to be delivering. So the first objective is we're going to be teaching the learners the processes surrounding software development. So as we all know, working doesn't involve you, as we're working in software development, it doesn't involve someone working in isolation, it involves other team members as well. So this first objective is just to let them get familiarized with the different roles and the different team members within the team while they're completing their tasks. And it's also supposed to help them learn how to collaborate with these team members. And the last thing is that it's also going to help them find their way around the technology that's supposed to facilitate this collaboration with their team members. The second objective of the curriculum is to enable the learners to read and interpret other people's code. So a large part of development involves working with code that other people have authored, that people in the past, they might still be within that organization or they might have left, but they're the ones who authored that code. So new developers, junior developers need to develop this skill earlier on in order to facilitate their smooth transition into their roles and to enable them to work comfortably. So this is also the second objective. And the third objective is that we're going to be helping them to learn how to fix issues within their code, otherwise known as bugs, which ties back to the soft skill that I'd mentioned of problem solving. So that just involves troubleshooting and trying to find out what problems are causing the inconsistencies in the application or in the code in general. And then the final objective is where they're going to be learning, they're going to actually be going deeper into more comprehensive software development. In the first 3 objectives, the learners are being exposed to snippets, tiny short code snippets, and very simple coding projects. But in the final objective is where they go into the deeper sections of programming, and they're going to learn how to, for instance, the first thing is code architecture, which just refers to how to organize their code. And then the second bit is working with databases, which basically refers to where and how data should be stored. And there's many other higher level programming aspects that they're also going to learn. So the fourth objective, I'd say, is what carries the weight of the content within the curriculum. 6 months later, once the learners have completed the curriculum, then they'll be ready to finish their final project. And then the final project is now called the Microsoft Game of Learners, which is the 4th partner. And I'm going to pass that on to Yente to explain in further detail.
Thank you, Esther. Now, before I go into the Game of Learners, I just want to emphasize something, because Esther, who's sitting over here, is actually very humble. She has talked a bit about her growth, but she actually did not mention even what came before she joined the program. So Esther is one of the most talented coders I have ever met, and I have met many. And she doesn't even have a degree in anything related to IT. Her degree is actually in communication. So while she was working on communication type jobs, such as in marketing, she actually taught herself how to code overnight from a pure passion for the field, a pure passion for breaking down problems, solving the small bits, building them up into an application. And when she joined the program, we were really impressed with her application, so we decided to give her a chance on the apprenticeship program, again, even if she did not have any prior IT background, apart from what she taught herself. Now, if you look at what she can do today, and even there she's extremely humble because she explained it a bit where she has connected a bank to a platform. She has actually by herself turned an accounting platform into a bank, by herself, by actually integrating the underlying infrastructure of the platform. It's a startup that does property accounting, and connecting that to a bank. So you can even you can get transactions from your bank into the platform, account for them immediately. You can get invoices into the platform, pay them immediately. She has done all of that practically completely by herself. So I think, yeah, I just wanted to take a moment to appreciate that as well. Now, when it comes to the game of learners, there's actually one partner, and as you can see, now we just took the other slide, but this is not a partnership between just Elewa and Windle. There's also a very large and very important contribution from Microsoft. So Microsoft here in Kenya have what is called one of the African development centers. And what that basically means is that some of these applications that you use, such as Word, Microsoft itself, so the Office and things like that, are actually, some of those things are being built here in Kenya by Kenyan engineers. So they have one here in Kenya, they have one in Nigeria, and those are the African development centers. They have these development centers all across the world. And Microsoft is also a huge recruiter of tech talent. So when we talked to them, they were also very interested to see, because they also believe a lot in diversification. And if we go to places such as the refugee camp, you find a very diverse community there. So that means there's a very diverse pool of talent that is looking to contribute on opportunities. So they also came along, and they came in as both a financial contributor to the program. But not only that, they came in with the final piece, which I'll talk about later, which is the game of learners. So the final piece of the coding, let's call it the graduation project. And they also came in with actually their senior talents, because Microsoft African Development Center has some of the best talent in software development in Kenya, located at their center. And what they are doing is they are taking some of their senior engineers and actually mapping them one-on-one with the students, the academics that are now starting in the iTalanta Academy in Kakuma. That means that everyone going through the program, everyone having this base formation in IT software development, will actually have a one-on-one mentor from either Microsoft or ourselves that will guide them throughout this process. So that will check in on regular basis. How is it going? What are you struggling with? Which concepts can I help you maybe understand a bit better? Which concepts are you struggling with? How can we move on? How can we develop ourselves further? Okay? So Microsoft is bringing in, again, they're a contributor to this project, and they're also bringing in some of their senior talents. And the final thing that Microsoft is bringing to this project, the iTalanta Academy, is the final test. Because Microsoft has been running a program, and they've been doing this for several years, since they got here actually, which is called the Game of Learners. And the Game of Learners is a program that is run across universities and colleges across Kenya, where within universities they form teams and they compete on technical coding challenges. So that means that what Microsoft is bringing, also the iTalanta academics will join the Game of Learners, so they will join the competition. So it's the ultimate test, and I'm very excited to see the results of this and how it will play out, but it's the ultimate test of how well the academy will work, because they'll literally be competing against other universities and other campuses across the country. Now, so that we really also appreciate the role that Microsoft is playing, and they have been a key partner both in the recruitment of the 20 students, as in the logistics, as in the whole ideation, as in every phase of this project, basically. So what I also just wanted to now, as a final sort of point, if you allow me, talk about is what's next, okay? So we've talked about the first iTalanta Academy that is being launched today. Yesterday actually was the launch in Kakuma. Today is the official launch across the country. We have the apprenticeship program that is growing rapidly, and we hope that a lot of these students that graduate from the iTalanta Academy get to the point where they can actually join our apprenticeship program, or maybe the Microsoft African Development Center, or one of these other partners that are really looking to grow their tech talent and to find tech talent. After the apprenticeship program that we do is a 2-year program, and as she said, she's actually the first one to graduate. She graduated as a solution designer, which is actually going into the direction of cloud architecture. So when you get questions such as how do we build a bank, a neobank, a digital bank, she will be one of the people to ask, okay? That's the type of skills she's going in. When we get new projects, what are the best technologies to use? How do we tackle these problems in the best way so that developers can come in and actually implement these things? So more from a technical reasoning, technical writing, that's the growth path she set herself up. And that growth part is part of the 3rd phase of our iTalanta program. So if you see the slogan of iTalanta program, it's discovering, developing, deploying. Discovering is the 1st phase, where we find very motivated youth that wants to break into the tech space, and we basically give them an opportunity to learn the basics of computer science to the point where they can get a first opportunity on the work field, to developing, and now the slide has changed again, but there was developing there, which is basically where we now offer these first entry type positions, but then use them as in an apprenticeship formula to really bring them up in a very short time to the cutting edge of technology globally, to deploying, where we search for interesting opportunities for the youth that is now developed into proper software developers. And we find challenges that are both rewarding and challenging enough for them to grow themselves and to set themselves onto a career trajectory in tech. There will be different actually trajectories that we offer in this 3rd phase. Recently we had Linda Warui, who is sitting over there also, join the team. She's actually the former head of shared technology at Interswitch Group, one of the African unicorns. So a unicorn is a company with a very high valuation. And she has a very strong expertise in quality assurance. So quality assurance is one of these things that is often forgotten. We think about developing, then we deploy, and now the program crashes. It's Linda and her team job to make sure it doesn't crash. So they test very thoroughly, and we're also building that skill here in the country. Other trajectories, so the architecture one, the one Esther is more my specialty, but we're also offering other specialties such as going into senior engineering, senior front-end, senior back-end. We're looking at setting up data engineering tracks. So all of this is what's coming in the 3rd phase. What's coming in the 1st phase, and this is now my final note, and I think our colleagues here at Windle already noted, we were looking also to see, can we maybe expand even to other camps if it's successful. We want to scale this formula across the country. It's our vision to at least have trained up to employment 1,000 youth here in Kenya over the next 4 years, and we want to keep growing from there. Again, within that vision that if we just look at how much tech talent is needed, especially with how the sector is growing and how the world is evolving here in what we call the 4th industrial revolution, the digital revolution. We need to start investing in youth, and we need to start introducing them to these skills and to this knowledge, and we need to scale that up, because else we will not be able to meet market demand, which honestly we are not able to meet right now. So we are scaling up these campuses. We're looking at setting up one in Nairobi. Also really with an angle of focusing on disadvantaged youth, because we also really believe in the social mission. For example, disadvantaged youth and women from areas such as Madare or Kibra will definitely also get an opportunity to get into this campus. But we're also looking not only at disadvantaged youth, we're also looking at making this campus accessible to people graduating from college. Because again, there's a gap between graduating from college and being able to get that first tech job. So we want to really support on that as well. So again, the vision is really to get 1,000 people through this program over the coming 4 years. And we're very excited that this is the first step we're taking, but there will be many to come. So we invite everyone to follow that journey along and to take the journey along with us. We're open to many different partners that believe in this vision, and we're very approachable. So please reach out in case you want to contribute to this. So then as now, final remark, I've been talking for too long. I really want to, because I know I have on live stream here, actually the new academics in Kakuma and Noella there, who's actually an iTalanta level 2 that is, that has been sent and is now coaching the academic straight there on the campus. Good luck with your first day of school. Yesterday was a bit the inauguration. Today the real work starts. And I'm really looking forward to see all of you evolve over the coming weeks into really talented software developers. We know you're talented, we know you're motivated. Now let's get the software development part in. Thank you.
Wow, wow, wow. Thank you, Gente. Great initiative there and very good. Well done, Esther. Thank you very much, Carol. If I was asked today where I want to move to, obviously I would want to go to Kakuma to be a host community. Because you didn't tell us about age limit, because when you look at the refugees, there are those who don't go to school until they are 18 years. So you didn't talk about age limit during your selection criteria. So once you clarify that, then maybe I'll move ahead, because tomorrow you'll find me packing my bags going to Kakuma. Obviously, the interviews, I'll qualify. Thank you.
Check. Yeah, it's okay. Yeah. All right. So you've mentioned something very interesting about you wanting to go to Kakuma and trying your luck, because I haven't said anything about the age limit in regards to the beneficiaries of the scholarship awardees. So most of our programs actually have that aspect of age limit. So you find that most of our students that get into our scholarship programs are not more than 30 years old. Yeah, and of course they have to be of legal age from like 18. So that is actually the age gap. So most of them, we are between 18 to 30. I don't think we have like students in their 40s, and that kind of thing. So every program has its own requirements, but then that is the bracket. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much, Carol. At this moment, we are going to have a question and answer session, and I'm sure you'll remember from each of them their responsibilities. So we'll have somebody take around the mic. You'll raise up your hand and then say your name and the media house, and then you can direct a question to any of the speakers or any other person that is around. I think we did not, we want to also acknowledge the presence of Elewa Sherman, Peter. For those of you who are not around, Peter is here with us. He can also help answer some questions just in case, but you are free right now to ask questions so that we can have it as interactive as possible. At the same time, after we have all these questions, there'll be a time where we'll go and share some snacks at the back there, but we'll want to have one-on-one interaction with the speakers so that you get points clearly. Whatever you have not gotten from each of them, you can actually have a one-on-one session and understand exactly what they are up to as we look forward for many more iTalanta academies born in Kenya. Thank you so much. Questions, please?
Everyone, my name is Elvis Ondieki from Nation Media Group. I actually don't have a question, but just a note of appreciation. I have been studying the design of the program, and I'm impressed. Just to congratulate the team for choosing the disadvantaged as the core team or as their area of focus. I look forward to seeing apps created by these people. I look forward to seeing them come with solutions to our Kenyan problems and help the world. I'm so touched by this. I wish you luck. My only suggestion, I have a suggestion, is that how about you incorporate hardware into this? Because I've seen the course, it's all about software. And there might be some people who might not master the nitty-gritties of coding so much, but they might want to be, they can fix phones, for example, fix laptops. If you had a component of teaching them the interface between, I don't know, maybe you do it, but the nitty-gritty of repair, so that if they don't go to the very high-tech jobs, they can at least start off in business by repairing devices in their street, in their localities. It can help a lot of people. That's my humble suggestion. So those are my comments. Thank you.
Yante, I think, do you want to respond to his hardware?
Thanks so much. We really appreciate your appreciation for the program also. When it comes to, for example, things like hardware and repair, there's actually other organizations that focus on that aspect. Our focus is really on software development, but there are quite some programs that are running that focus specifically on skills such as repair. So we also hope to see those grow. I have some in mind, but I don't want to actually name them before I verify. But I know about such programs existing, and we also hope they can really grow over the coming years. Thank you.
Any other question? Perfect. Energy.
As a radio station that, my name is Denzel Mbachu. I represent Energy Radio, and as a radio station that represents the youth. I know 3/4 of the people here, or everyone, knows Energy. We talk to the youth and we represent the youth fully. So my question is, if you guys have the facility to be online, why have a physical class and we are in the age of e-education?
I can also take that one. We are actually looking at taking some of these parts of the course online to actually be able to access a more broader audience. But we have a lot of experience in continuous professional development, and especially professional development. And we do see, yes, online is very effective, but if you really want to grow fast, having some sort of a physical representation there really helps. And it doesn't necessarily need to be the campus formula like we're doing now. It could also be through events, for example, where every week you have what we call a meetup in the space, where basically a lot of people that are going through the program, they come together to have a peer-to-peer session, basically share your experiences, share how you understand that question, and then facilitate knowledge that way. What we're really trying to do with the iTalanta Academy and why it's physical, it's because we really want to do it fast, okay? And if you want to do it fast, it still helps to have a physical classroom in place. We do make sure, and especially this is through our partnership with Windle, they have very special attention to this, that all of the COVID measures are observed, because that's very important this day and age. We don't want, we need to really be careful there. But our accelerators is really something that we do physically for now. And we also even have a vision where we have our open online platform, from where we will actually find people that can go into the physical class. So the people that are performing the best on the online platform could find sort of a fast, a highway, if you might, into our physical academies and then straight through to employment. Thank you.
Thank you. My name is Steve Umida. I write for People Daily. I'm keen to understand the level of appetite in terms of enrollment. Are you able to, at this point, give numbers in terms of students coming on board with your programs? My second question regards with TVET, we've seen a lot of interest from the government to upscale TVET institutions. Do you have like future plans to partner with the government on this front? And do you have like conversations going on around that area? Thanks.
Thank you. I'll handle the last one on TVET. I mentioned that we have vocational training programs as Windle International Kenya that is also looking at that aspect of TVET. So about partnering with the government, of course, we work very closely with the government, whether it's the Ministry of Education and all that, so that even sorry. I think I took it so close and there's that thing there. Yeah, so that now we work very closely with the government relevant government institutions, may it be the Ministry of Education and that kind of thing. So even the courses that we enroll our students in, let's say TVET, these are very well researched and very well informed. We have probably looked at the industry trends and that kind of thing, and also the needs. So that is something that we are very keen on, and we are already on the journey because we have students that are enrolled in TVET institutions for their vocational training. I didn't get the last, you asked about enrollment numbers. All right, so we have different programs cutting across different levels. So like I mentioned, we have secondary education programs. Currently, we have over 25,000 learners in our secondary education schools. In the DAB, we have 7 schools. In Kakuma, we have 9. So we have around 25,000 secondary education learners in our schools. For tertiary education, we are looking at around, currently, we are looking at around maybe almost 1,000 students in our tertiary education institutions of learning here in Kenya. Yes, those are the numbers in terms of the support. Of course, we have other interventions, English language program and all that, but those are the key, I'll talk about like the big programs and the numbers that we have in those particular projects. Yeah. I don't know if that helps to answer your question.
Yeah, actually
right,
that covers
you.
it. And another one actually left out.
Okay.
The gentleman in the middle had mentioned about expansion plans in Nairobi, and you were keen on Kibera, Mathare, and other parts. What is the seed capital? How much are you investing in terms of expansion, and how much has been invested since you began this program thus far? Thank you.
Thank you. Now, before I go there, I wanted to actually also comment on the question about TVET, because I love the question. There's actually, we really believe in transferring some of these, if not all in the long term, education type, the way in which we train on IT to the formal sector, because the formal education sector has actually the scale and the muscle to carry such programs forward. So we've already actually developed sort of a project proposal to look at, for example, and these are midterms to long-term plans, to get our curriculum through CDAC, for example, and then to later also start working with TVET colleges to have some of the academy activities taking place there. And that is really part of our long-term vision, because again, we really believe in the power of formal education and formal accreditation for that fact. Now, so that's on the TVET side. When it comes to the investment side, I think that is not information I'm at a liberty to share right now. But we do take our investment serious, and we invest in these academies because they get us the youth that can contribute on the projects that we do later on. So we do see these academies as also a professional investment from our side.
Thank you so much. We will take one more question as we leave room for one-on-one as we continue to go upstairs for some snacks. Let's have one more question, then we can continue from there. We have no more questions, and I just want to appreciate you for partnering with us today, my media houses, You're always there for us. We want to appreciate you so much. We want to appreciate Yente from Elewa, the partners, Windle, Microsoft. We want to say it is a good initiative. We wish the students go well as they start their program for 30 weeks. And as we look forward to many more in the country, well done. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Let's give a round of applause to all of our panelists. All right, so just some housekeeping. We have the team from iTalanta on that corner. So for all the individual interviews, just feel free to approach anyone, not just the panelists. Anyone can answer any of your questions. So there's enough to go to everyone. We have Kennedy, we have Peter, we have Linda, so just feel free to approach any one of them for any more questions. If you want the washrooms, they're just out to the left if you want to use the washrooms, but feel free to now, there's a small refreshment for us, so you can have a refreshment and then feel free to leave at your own leisure. Thank you so much for joining us today, and have a good rest of your day.
We still have 2 minutes. Please feel free to interview anybody of your choice. Thank you.